Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. How's everyone doing? Good morning, Zello. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Sterling. Thank you for putting in some stuff here, Sterling, for the news. What else? Work just got you. You're busy this week. You're busy this week. White House. I didn't see that one. U.S. chip tariff will not apply to U.S. chips imported for U.S. technology supply. All right. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Mark. Good morning to Patrick and Rusty over on Rumble and people in the background on Rumble. Thank you for tuning in. You can always jump in the chat over there. So, what else we have? We have the AI trade. The rotation is back on, keeping an eye still on Avgo. TSMC was a beat and strong guidance. So, that's uh, making the rotation back into AI. So that's what we have today. Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning, David. So what else do we have? We had the initial and continuous jobless claims, very benign today. I gotta say good morning to Balaji though. Both dropping and both below consensus. So especially initial jobless claims. Philly Fed business conditions dropping a bit, but prices paid coming down slightly, and new orders bouncing. We've had Goolsby. We've had a couple different people speaking this morning. Good morning, Holy Holy. Good day, Charles. Good day, Charles. What else do we have? I forgot who was talking this morning. Boy, there's too much going on. Who else was talking? Goolsby was talking. I know that. And was it Bostic's already talking? We got Barr coming up. We got Barkin coming up. And that's about it for today. Not a lot of new stuff coming out. Tomorrow we have not much. By the way, I hope I don't forget. Tomorrow though is OpEx. Remember that. Tomorrow is OpEx. Well, I'm also not surprised to see the bounce. So, Monday's Martin Luther King Day in the USA, and the stock market is closed. I think the futures trading's limited hours. So there will not be a live stream on Monday, but we'll touch base on that tomorrow. And tomorrow we have a Fed speak, but not much going on tomorrow besides OpEx. Remember OpEx. Here's your chips. Here's everything AI and chip related. Running higher. And which is also triggering the moves in the Mag 7. By the way, Google just hit my next target. So it's still in trailing mode from a longer term perspective. There's your banks, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. They were down a little. Maybe they've recovered, but they produced decent earnings. Energy, after maybe we're not going to get the attack on Iran yet. But look at stuff from a technical perspective because it's actually fascinating. We'll get to that chart. So I'll tell you exactly what I'm looking for now in that also. Who else? Did anybody? Oh, good morning, Anissa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Groups. Let's just do a quick refresh. We have technology leading the way. AI saving the day. We have energy, basic materials pulling back. Dollar also stronger today. Consumer defensive pulling back. It's going to be a risk on day. It's going to be buy it all. Buy it all kind of day. VIX will probably plummet. Sell volatility and buy it all. We got the nice little spike in volatility now yesterday with the move back up and hold the rotation zone. Looking for another dip going into the dip has actually been bought. I'm going to go through. Hey, Sterling, are you still here? Because you were asking, Sterling messaged me yesterday. He's got a lot going on at work and wanted to know about just trading shifting to 4-hour setups and longer. I had a comment on stuff, so let me know if you're still here. We have 95% for the cut in 13 days. Fear and greed, back in greed mode. Schiller PE, 4072. gonna climb through that today. TSMC, which was beat strong guides, we already talked about that. I did not look at BlackRock today. I forgot about BlackRock, but I don't really give a crap. All right, Sterling, I got something because again, 4-hour setups are great. I want to show you something when you got wide range 4-hour %B buy bars, especially like by key levels. Spike through rotation zones with a rally back and everything else. We'll talk about that in a second. That's the only time I go to 1-hour %B buys, and I'll show you that. Or there's two ways I play that. Two ways. Give you more information I don't think I've ever released before. Maybe I don't know. It's been years if I haven't talked about it. PNC tomorrow. By the way, I've had no coffee. This is just all green tea. Spiking below the rotation zone, moving back up. By the way, this would be a daily %B buy bar if we close above the highs going into OpX tomorrow. I'm, again, watching since we close the rotation zone. Also, watching for the rotation back up, especially with tomorrow to retest the high areas. Where it looks like we're going to close above the 62.5. If we don't, I'll be more cautious. But 62.5, 69.94 today's close. Above there, I'm using the harmonics. Okay, the minor harmonics. These are from the pullback yesterday. We got 7,008. There is a little key level at 7,000. There's a key level there, but then 7,022. All right. This is also if we do continue through tomorrow. Look at this. Look at what we have. Look at what we have. I'll use 70, 50, and then we look at all this cluster up here. So if we do continue, that's what we got even into next week. But I'm paying very close attention where 69.94 today. Now, we're above 7K, so we're going to be paying attention to 7K in the open. If we pull back, the bigger pullback area is 69.78, 69.80, level 4 key support. The minor that I'm watching is the 8 EMA on the 1-hour basis if we do stall out and have a little pullback there. Right now, it's trading about 69.90. Now, what I wanted to talk about, couple things. Wide range 4-hour %B buy bar. Again, if you're newer here, %B buy. Bollinger Band %B, length 5, high-low close divided by 3. Standard deviation of 1. You look for it to pull back below 0, and then the next bar to close above the high. You can always front run it by, which I do. That's the way I trade it most of the time. On the takeout. Well, what happens when you get this long body? There are two ways I play this. First way, you can use your harmonics, the retracement harmonics, on just that bar. All right. And I watch for to close above the 62.5. Because what does that mean is we're going to retest the high area with probabilities. So then on any kind of pullback or anything, I look for to get in for a retest of the highs. All right. And then I keep a fairly decently tight stop on that. The other thing, if you don't want to do it that way, I will shift. This is pretty much the only time I will go to a 1-hour %B buy. So we got the 4-hour wide range %B. We also got a 1-hour %B buy here. I'll either look for a double bottom or a 1-hour %B buy. We got it here potentially. We went through and closed above the high. Now, since this is aggressive going into a bounce play, if it takes out the lowest low between the bar of the %B buy, either the next bar if it was lower or the prior bar if it was lower, if it breaks through there, I don't want it anymore. Don't want it anymore. Okay? Other than that, it's an aggressive %B buy on a 1-hour basis, and then I trail. That's the one time I look for %B buys on the 1-hour basis, or if we get a double bottom on that 4-hour. Those are the two ways I play it. And by the way, Sterling, if you're trading the 4 hours, you got to be prepared at least to set alerts at areas and get in them. Don't always wait for, it's going to be challenging if you wait for the 4 hour close a lot of times, because especially in these markets when things are running, by the time it closes above that 4 hour bar, sometimes it could be long gone. So my thing is, you got to learn to manage, get in, especially if we get momentum, and then learn to manage the trade by trailing a stop higher as it grinds higher. So I hope that makes sense. Type into the comments if that makes sense. We can always go over it again in the future. I got a lot to get through today, but I wanted to point that out because we had it happen yesterday. If we get the bigger pullback again, 69.78 on the 1 hour basis is bottom of the rotation zone and near the first cross of rotation zone on the 4 hours. So that's a key level I'll be watching for support. If disaster happened, like something came out of the blue, 69.50, and then near yesterday's low, 69.27. You're welcome, Zello. Please, does that make sense? I went through it very quickly. You can always watch the recording. The NASDAQ. We had the double. We continued with momentum. I said yesterday, this was the easier one to short. We got the 4 hour. Same thing, 4 hour, wide range bar. Closing above the 62.5 of that 4 hour bar, it was a percent beat buy bar. Same difference here. Either look for a double when you get these against very key levels, or 1 hour percent beat buy that triggered here. All right. By the way, don't crowd the stop too much. That's why if it takes out the low, this would be the low of that bar that triggered it. Do not crowd it too much because you can get double bottoms at form, especially with higher lows or equal lows. So don't crowd the stop too much. You got to be willing. If it's too much risk, you should be trading the micros. You can trade the micros. All right. Key things I'm looking at. Again, I really hope this makes sense. It's a very important concept. I'm watching on a bigger pullback, 25.77, 25.75, on a minor pullback, 25.840. Daily close above 25.811. But we're already, we'd have to have something come out of the blue. Yes, it would be a percent beat buy. This is also the thing on a daily bar. You're waiting for the percent beat buy, but look, it's already retraced the whole move. And then the targets are right here. So by the time this triggers, you're already at the target area where we stalled out before. On a continued move higher, 25.967. 25.967. You got a lot of topping around 26K. So headed into OpEx, if we do continue higher, pay very close attention to 26K. I want some more feedback to make sure I didn't rush through that too quickly. Percent beat buy on the Dow. However, it is completely valid. I'm looking for more of the rotation in the AI. Dow, we still do have the potential double top unless we rotate up again, holding the rotation zone yesterday. So I'll be watching in relationship to yesterday's high, 49,400. We were above it. We're now slightly below it. On the targets, if we do take that out, my first key target is 49,585, then 49,690, then about 49,790 to the upside. The only thing that, if we turn around and close below 49K, we trigger still the potential double top. Russell, we do have. It's a little soft, but it is valid. A 4 hour potential double top. We are still holding the rotation zone on the 4 hour basis. We did pull back into the rotation zone yesterday and trigger a percent beat buy yesterday on a 4 hour basis and rotating up. We do have a potential double top. So for anything longer term, 2635.4, 2635 is a key trailing stop level. From my perspective, that's the pullback. All right, would I be shorting that aggressively? No, because it's right in the daily rotation zone. All right, is the chat still working? Did I put everybody to sleep? We're up against the key harmonic. If we do break that out, the minor harmonics I'll be looking for today. If we take out yesterday or Tuesday's high, I'm looking around 2681, 2682, and 2687 today. It takes 6 times to learn new things. That's why this is recorded. That's why you're very smart, Holy Holy. I'm not expecting you to master it, but take notes, and because you're also going to want to watch it during the day. This is not something you're going to master overnight, but I'm putting it out there. Teddy's still awake. I hope you're still awake. All right, Patrick. Again, I'm trying to teach some more nuanced stuff this year. Nuanced stuff. You don't need a million setups. Sometimes you might need to know when to use certain setups, but you don't need a million setups to do really well in the markets. VIX tailed up and then drop back down. Now I'm looking for some continued selling, especially into OpX. So we got the little VIX spike. Now, for longer term, I'm not done with VIX hedges. For shorter term, it was nice to unwind some and wait for another pullback. DAX. DAX, again, silly overextended. We have I'm watching for one more rotation back up, still with the rising rotation zone. Still, we got a really nice channeling pullback here. I'm watching for one more rotation back up, and then we'll see if we get a more significant topping pattern. Keep in mind the DAX, very overextended from the weekly rotation zone, but it would only be hyper aggressive shorts if we started taking out this week's low. Other than that, not much just yet. I never put us to sleep. Well, I don't know about that. 10-year, not much to talk about. That's the weekly. Still caught in the range. 30 years more interesting, breaking down key support, but nothing here invalidates the pattern. It was just we had last Friday the stop raise and just a orderly pullback. Crude, look at this. So we had the spike up on Iran fears. Look, did it close above the 62.5? No, it did not. Look where the 200 is on the daily basis, continuous rolling contract, which is where all the testing was done. 62.5, could not close above it, and then bloop, 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 below 60.15 again, which was a key support level. I'm now watching on this pullback towards the bottom of the rotation zone and 58.30. 58.30 to 58.50 for a potential pattern in here for another rotation up. Not necessarily above these recent highs, but another rotation back up. Just like I talked about in Bitcoin, I'm not just going to go buy it. I need a pattern to form down here. Natty gas, still we got the magnet price of the 87.5. Then I'll be getting more serious down here about looking for bottoming patterns. Gold, little pullback potentially here. Rotation zone trading 45.57 area. We're holding. This is not a double bottom. It's just two bottoms. You can still pay attention to about 46.26, holding a 4-hour rotation zone. But this looks like a sort of sideways corrective pattern. If we do start breaking down below 45.84, I just watch for the pullback into the 45.50, 45.58 area. Sound effects. We don't have any stinking. I guess I don't have the sound effects set to go off. Another black swan. Cold hybrid civil war turns hot in blue sanctuary cities. What? Oh, yeah, we're going to get the Insurrection Act, aren't we? We're going to get the Insurrection Act, aren't we? All right. So, silver. Again, you're going to get more volatility in silver because it's just insane, spiking up through the next harmonic set. This is just getting, again, would not be shorting it yet because it's just too gosh darn risky. There wasn't even a double top here. Still, I'd be watching the 4-hour rotation zone. The little dip below it still holding right now. We start breaking though, really below 86.20. I'd look for the slightly bigger pullback. I'm still looking for another rotation. I forget some kind of pause for another rotation back up. Well, you got the falling duck. What the duck? What the duck Thursday? Copper still has a potential double top. May never trigger. Dollar index. Dollar. Double bottom. Plenty of time to get into it. Second target hit. Looking on any pullback, we got two levels of support, 98.50, 98.80 area, and then the rising rotation zone right around, if it pulls back, it's about 98.50, 98.55 is the bigger pullback level. So, Euro, double completed, done and dusted, double completed. Kaboom. There we go. Coming in with the 200, so I'm going to watch for some support in here. Also with the potential divergence, that's why I would not be surprised to see another rotation in the dollar index and the euro bounce, but nothing yet. Nothing yet. Yields somewhat taking a pausing a little in Japan. Bitcoin. Here we go. Bitcoin moving on up. Key support now back in this. We've gone through this trade. If you missed this one, watch the last few videos when I talked about Bitcoin. We laid out this one exactly what I was watching for. Is that a guarantee? Now, I was asked if this means Bitcoin's going to new highs. No. No. This is a trade, not a greedy trade. Now, if we get an explosion in Bitcoin, it's got to close above 109, 131 before I shift the probabilities higher. So it's still a trade with a trailing stop. Next targets, again, we have the harmonic cluster right here. Then we got about 101, 300. Then we got about 103, 410. Oh, the sound effects are noticeable with headphones. By nice chart patterns behind the heads keeps me visually stimulated, if not. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. I make my own sound. I do. I do make my own sound effects. I'm a. Oh, who was that comedian that did all the great sound effects? 80s. I mean, he's still around, but who was that? The sound of the human sound effect machine. So that was that. Spiders. All right, spiders. We're way above the percent B buy bar. Again, we're even above the gap fill. The gap fill. So the next key targets 695.50. Now we can do reverse harmonics. Then the high 696.09. This is not just for today. Then I'd be looking at about 697.35. The Qs to the close 626.24. We're above that now. So the open was 627.27. We're trading there, which is some minor resistance going in the open. We take out that. Sorry, I've got to raise a little level here. We don't even need that right now. We're looking at very key resistance about 629.30 to 629.98. Is it Michael Winslow? Yeah, from Police Academy. That's right. Yes. Yeah, that was from Police Academy. I do not remember his name. Sorry, I blacked out on the name. Yeah, it's a really strong gap fill. Keep an eye still. This technically did not invalidate the potential double bottom in Broadcom. Still may never trigger. Keeping an eye on that. TSM, strong earnings day, gap up. Gap up. So if you're looking for the next targets, coming down here using the harmonics. Stalled out here. Then we had earnings. Now the gap up. So the next target would be 355.65. That's what I would be using for TSMC. He was very funny. Boy, I feel old. Police Academy, what year did that come out? I feel really old now. Really old. I think that's about it. We had Goldman Sachs. Oops, I forgot to raise my retracement harmonics. Goldman Sachs. Nice little channeling flag pullback. So if you're from a shorter term trade perspective, if I can draw with my clicky finger, looking for still another rotation back up, holding the daily rotation zone. Now, if we lose the 913 area, we'll be cautious. Other than that, looking for. By the way, this would be a percent beat buy if it closes above yesterday's 4-hour high. Keep an eye on some of this stuff. We're into raw markets again. We had our little pausing. Look at Morgan Stanley, already percent beat buy triggered on the open. It's not officially triggered yet, but moving through the high of that bar. That's what I'm saying. In these kind of markets, you got to be okay with front running, and then you don't hold it if it doesn't close. Or if it takes out the low of that bar, do not try to carry it. Other than that rotating up also. I think that's about it. I think we've had enough of me today. I think we have. Again, on any pullback, keep watching this 1 hour rotation zone. Even if it's a minor pullback, I'll be watching. Look at the 7K right with that 15-minute. So we do pull back. First thing I'm going to be watching off the strength of the open is the 15-minute rotation zone. That's what I have for you. Hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the Thursday. And I shall talk to everyone for Option Expiration Friday. The week's already over tomorrow. Where did it go? Where did it go? Remember, watch where it closes today in relation to not only the 62.5, but where it closes in relation to yesterday's high on the S&P and the NASDAQ. You are welcome, holy, the 80s. Yes, I'm so old. Oh, boy. Bye for now.